Mm, almost afternoon, maybe afternoon to some. If I was in Florida still, it would be noon. Oh, what a great trip that was, wasn't it? It is just like anybody who's following me and on my profile and stuff, you see that I love to travel, even in the midst of COVID and all of our restrictions. There's still a way to get out and go do and be and live. And that's definitely been my message of the last few weeks, is that it's up to each one of us to go do, be, live, experience, and to stop using every reason that we possibly can as a reason to not live. So today, as I was sitting here, I got home yesterday. I did pretty much nothing as far as like what you would consider work related. I got home and I haven't even really finished unpacking or anything like that. But I got home and I just really got caught up on family stuff and just kind of getting my list of things that I need to get accomplished, because I'm home this weekend and I'm doing family stuff. And then next weekend, guess what? You will find me in the beautiful state of Washington, one of my homes. I lived up in Seattle area for almost a decade, and I absolutely love it. And it just saddens my heart to hear about some of the crap that is going on up in the Seattle area, and just the abuse that the city has been taking, and just the vandalism and everything that's been going on. It's absolutely disgusting to me that no matter what the reason might be, there is never a reason to destroy beautiful monuments, and to destroy cities, and to destroy nature and lives in general. I just, our world right now, it feels like there's so much that is rising up, and so much negativity that is getting uncovered, and truly just evil that is being uncovered, that I find myself really in much, I'm sure, like that you might be feeling as well, as all this Epstein stuff comes out, and the accusations against world leaders and our stars that we love in Hollywood, and then to see just kind of the media not make mention to things that you have to question, like, why did we bring up this? Why did we create all of this, chaos over here over this? But then we have this stuff that's going on that's also serious. Not that any of it's not serious, but it's also serious, and it's just being washed under. And the people that are being accused are not saying anything. Like, if anything, it's just like dormant out there, like crickets to the accusations. And let's just let's not talk about it. So, oh my goodness, hold on. I have my computer open here and I completely forgot. Just give me a second. What the heck? It doesn't want to do what I want it to do. All right, there we go. We're good now. Somebody sent me messages. No, so, we have all this stuff that is going on in our world, and what is it actually doing? And here, I know that I personally cannot change any one particular thing, but that my consciousness, my focusing on positive, being aware, but at the same time being in faith. And I think that that's what so many of us really have a trouble with. We are not wanting to be fully aware, because some of the stories that we're seeing and hearing that are bouncing around right now, and yes, I am referring to the child sex trafficking and all the Epstein shit that's going on, and the horror tales there, and then the fear-based stuff that is coming up around that, and around our politicians and Hollywood stars, and we wonder, this has to be fucking crazy, right? Like, how is this possible? Who would actually do this? This is like something out of a horror movie, right? And the reality is that it does happen. Whether it is this big cases that are going on right now that nobody really wants to acknowledge, or as I have dealt with so many people over the course of time, and this is like, excuse me if I get a little bit emotional here today, but I have dealt with so many women. I was just telling Addison Bell, her and I were talking about, the 20 years of practice that we have been in working with people, and I have dealt with so many women, especially, that were children that were abused and now are women. And there is sexual abuse, there is physical, emotional abuse, and then there is the stuff that we hear going on. And I can tell you that this stuff really happens, because I've dealt with the survivors over the course of time, and every time a person walks through my door that is a survivor to this massive degree, my heart crumbles. My soul is disgusted at what we human beings can do to each other and to our children, to the innocents, at the hunger for power, the hunger for these moments of momental, gratification. And just because we pleasure in pain, and we pleasure in control, and we pleasure in dominating each other in different ways. And it's really sad. So what does this have to do with my topic of today of, shortage consciousness in your sex? Well, it has a lot to do with it, because that shortage consciousness, and what do I mean by shortage consciousness first, right? To define what I mean by shortage consciousness. Shortage consciousness is the belief that there is something wrong in our sex, and that we are missing something. And that if the other person would just do this, provide this, then everything would be good. Then our sex. And you know what? We have shortage consciousness in everything. We have shortage consciousness around our happiness, shortage consciousness around our money, shortage consciousness around our health, shortage consciousness around, just any aspect, our work, our purpose, our worthiness, our connection with people, you name it, we have a shortage consciousness around it in different ways. And all of us have this to some degree. It is just a matter of if we are aware of it or not. Okay? And when we have shortage consciousness in our sex, we are really just pointing the finger of blame to another person and not taking responsibility for our own engagement in what is not manifesting the way we want it to. In our sex, in our money, in our health, in our life, in our anything, right? Like a couple days ago, I wrote an article called "You Give Me Permission," because here I am in the midst of all of these lockdowns, and I have traveled just as much, maybe even more this year than what I do in a typical year, maybe not more. I typically travel everywhere from 5 to 7, 8 weeks. I'm off and I'm doing something. Sometimes it is, three weekends in a month, or, half my month I'm gone and half my month at home. And I've done that even in the midst of everything. When everybody else is going, oh, you can't. I am. Because I give myself permission. And I give myself permission in all areas of my life to live, to breathe. And like my article was saying, was like, let's not focus on getting permission from somebody else. Let's get permission from ourselves. But if you need me to be the one to give you permission, then yippee yay, I give you my permission, right? But go live, because that's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be living your life. You are born to thrive, not to suffer. Okay? Yet then we have all this shit going on in our world, right? Where children are suffering. Young women, young men are suffering, are being abused, are being victimized, are being massacred in the name of somebody else's pleasure. And this is like massive. 800,000 children, massive a year. But how does that get started? It gets started with the concept of control. And here's where this comes into play in our own sex, in our own intimacy, in our own relationships, because it comes around that shortageness consciousness. When we have a shortageness consciousness in anything, we also have a desire to control the situation. And that desire to control the situation leads us to believe that, number one, it's somebody else's fault. Number two, we need to gain control of this. We need to have power over it, thus the other person, their actions, their feelings, their everything, so that they're happy. No. So that we're happy. And we believe that if we have control over their actions, their ideas, their attitudes, their emotions, that we can control that, then we will be happy. We will feel safe. We will feel connected. We will feel loved. We will feel this. And that it is their responsibility to provide that for us. So we're going to take control by giving them control over our happiness, because we have this scarcity consciousness about it not everything that we don't have. When in truth, the path is to not give that power over, because we don't need to control other human beings if we're empowered in ourselves. If we are giving ourselves permission to be happy, if we are giving ourselves permission to enjoy life, if we are giving ourselves permission to open to our intimacy with self, intimacy with God, the divine, and thus have that orgasmic life, that fuck yes life that I'm always preaching and talking about and trying to show to everybody, like, you can do this. If I, mom of 7, grandmother of 4, who has gone through so much in the course of my 44 years and did not grow up with a silver spoon in her mouth and had to really figure this shit out, if I can do it, then I know that every person can do it. And I know that that's like one of those things that everybody who does talking and is out there in the light and everything, we all say the same thing. If I can do it, you can do it. But it's true. It's true. It is. And the reason why we all say it is because it's true. We had to come to that conclusion ourselves that we have the power. We have the power to be happy or to not be happy. We have the power to go and thrive or to not thrive. And when we are operating from that state of unconditional love, and that state of empowerment, true empowerment, and not a need to have power over, there's a difference. Okay? There truly is. Because when we have a desire to have power over another person, then what we are doing is we're actually believe that we're not worthy. We believe that we're weak. We're operating from scarcity. We're operating from fear. We're operating from this need. It feels like our life depends on controlling somebody else. And anytime we feel that another person needs to do this to make us feel some way, we are turning our power over, and we are saying that we are a victim in this. Okay? So we become power hungry. We become jealous. We become control freaks. And we don't have unconditional love for self. We don't value self. We don't believe in our own worthiness. We don't believe in our own power, right? Our own beauty. So we fall prey to all of this horrific stuff. Now, granted, the majority of relationships do not entail what we hear going on, out there today with all the stuff on the sex trafficking and everything that's going on. Thank God. But here's a little news flash for you. Over 70% of married women would say that they experience rape consistently in their relationship. It's pretty fucking scary, isn't it? Over 70%. Now, you might go, no. I'm married, and I've been married, and my girlfriends have been married, and my sister's married, and my mom's married, and none of them have been raped. My dad wouldn't do that. My brothers wouldn't do that. My brother-in-laws wouldn't do that. My best friends' husbands wouldn't do that. Blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, the 70% plus of women will say that they have experienced rape in their relationship, and that shouldn't be. It should not be. But there is this belief structure where women believe that they are to give themselves over to their partner, and that it is their duty to make their partner happy, even at the cost of their own happiness, their own feel good, their own anything. Okay? So they sacrifice themselves, believing that that is love. They repeatedly sacrifice themselves, and they give their bodies over. And it is just like they're just giving over their vessel, right, for masturbation, and they're not really into it. They don't want to be there. They're not turned on. And, I have one client, and she, so 3 decades of a marriage, and she's confessed to me, and I have numerous clients actually, 20, 30 years in, and the women will tell me, like, I spent the first 10, 15 years of our relationship that every time we had sex, I would be thinking, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. and just trying to escape into some other place and leave my body because it hurt so bad. It hurt in my heart. It hurt in my body because he was just using me. He was just taking from me. And if you talk to the men would be like, I didn't realize that I was doing it. Like, oh my God, no, I thought that she was into it. I thought that she was, that she was right on board with it. And the truth is that she wasn't, but she was scared to admit her truth, right? She was scared to admit that she was not a yes. And that is because she didn't want to create a fear in him. She didn't want him to, get really negative, get grumpy, do all this kind of stuff. So she feared the repercussion of it. But what did that end up doing? It led to the scarcity consciousness in the relationship, in the sex for both parties, because she wasn't getting connection. She wasn't getting intimacy. She wasn't receiving love. She wasn't feeling love during the intimacy. She wasn't having a real orgasm. She wasn't, there was nothing there. Instead, it was just this nasty hatred and bitterness and pain, suffering that was going on. And he didn't even realize that he was causing it most of the time. Although some men do realize it, because the woman will be laying there bawling her eyes out or completely just limp noodling it and just going like that, and the guy is oblivious and doesn't realize that she's not into it. And somewhere in his mind, he's going, oh no, she's into it. She wouldn't, like, we're having sex, so she must be into it. And just because a woman has sex with you doesn't mean that she's into it. Doesn't mean that she wants it. Okay? But what that ends up doing over the course of time, that bitterness, that hatred, is it creates this scarcity consciousness of that if he, and ladies, here's where it comes in, if he understood, if he saw, if he cared, if he would just pay more attention, if you have an if that is popping up, then you have a scarcity consciousness around your sex, and you are putting yourself into a victim state and even creating a victim state of being, like raping yourself because you're not speaking your truth, because you're not asking for what you need, because you're not saying no when you are a no. Instead, you're like, yeah, we can do it. Sure. Yeah. Or you even go up to him and you offer sex up when you're actually a no, but you're just like, I just don't want to deal with his shit today. So I'm just going to offer this. But what is actually going on is that you're raping yourself. And that is going to create this scarcity consciousness around your sex, and you're putting that blame onto your partner. And over the long haul, what that does is it causes massive separation, massive suffering, massive pain. And on the reverse side of it, ladies, what's going on? Like, yes, we do this. We offer up, we give sex when we don't want, we rape ourselves when we have duty sex. Right? Which is why so many women will say, 70% of married women, coupled women will say, I've been raped in my relationship. I know he loves me. We're best friends, blah, blah, blah. But, I haven't wanted to have sex with him for the last 15 years. And it reacts in the body as though it's a rape. Like, there's still the emotional, mental, psychological aspects, and the body actually goes through the whole process too, and the body starts to shut down. And I am a firm believer that the reason why we see so many women today experiencing so many different vaginal dysfunctions, cervical issues, ovarian issues. I mean, like, you name it. Like, you should just Google sometime all the different stuff that has come up over the last 15 years for women, the dysfunctions, the different ailments. Okay. And what that is that that's women raping themselves. That's women saying yes when they mean no. That's women not speaking their truth. That's women going, if he cared. Having scarcity consciousness in their sex, not claiming their power in their sex, and putting the blame on their partner. But then the flip side, gentlemen, is get conscious. Like, you're providing scarcity consciousness there too, because what do you think? You're like, well, if we just have more sex, everything will heal itself. Oh my God, if I was just given just a nickel for every single time a man has told me that the problem is that he's just not having enough sex. And if they had more sex in their relationship, everything would heal itself. It doesn't work that way for the feminine. That's not the way it works at all. The sex will, it actually causes more damage. And the masculine wants the sex for the stress release, and the feminine gets stressed about the sex. And it's just this massive, clusterfuck of shit that's going on for us. And it's not going to contribute to any amount of healing, no more depth, no more intimacy. It's just going to damage the whole relationship even more. So guys, what's the answer? The answer is, hey, you got to fall into like consciousness, become aware, and get out of little boy status in the bedroom. Seriously, don't just think that the sex is a sign of love. Don't just think that because she's giving it to you, that she wants to give it to you. Realize that there needs to be connection. There needs to be intimacy. That you can't go surface with your woman. If you're surface level relating with your woman, you're going to get surface level sexing back. You're going to get a wounded woman. You're going to get a turned off woman. You're going to get a woman that is completely disempowered and bitter and angry. And at some point in the relationship is going to shut it down in one way or another. Either shut that sex down and not have sex with you. And that's why there's so many sexless marriages out there, right? So many sexless marriages is because the woman has shut it down in general. Sometimes it's the man that shuts it down, but the majority of the time it's the woman shutting it down. And then what does she do? She either completely shuts herself down, or she cheats, or she waits till the kids are raised and she leaves you. And then she goes and she finds somebody else, and then maybe she repeats the process. Maybe she finds somebody that really, rocks her boat, right? Or something. But no matter what, there it is that if you assume that just because you're getting sex once a week, 3 times a week, whatever, but if she's not turned on, if she's not really into it, then it's just duty-based. It's surface. If there's no depth, if there's no connection, if you're that dude that comes home from work and sits down on a couch and watches TV and eats dinner and goes to bed, takes your shower, goes to bed, does a little bit of work, whatever the heck you're doing, and then you get into bed and it's 10, 11 o'clock at night or later, and then you think that you're going to get a little, right? You're going to get a little from your woman, and you think that you need to take this amount of time with her. You haven't talked to her all day. Oh, I held your hand. I gave you a little peck when I came home. But I didn't ask you how your day was. I didn't ask what's going on. I didn't ask anything about you. I didn't lean in and connect. There was no passion coming from you as a man to your woman. There's no desire. But you want her to desire you? That's not going to happen. It takes a lot longer for a woman to rev up. And it is a lot longer for a woman to get into that turned on state. And once you have a woman in a turned on state, if you hold her in that turned on state, and I'm not talking about just the sex, I'm talking about the connection. And I'm not talking about sexual connection. I'm talking about the give a shit about your woman connection, okay? Consciousness, awareness, intimacy, communication, right? The way to a woman's pussy is through her heart and her mind. It's a man. We can get to your heart and your mind through your cock, but hey, ladies, that's not the way us ladies work. We got to go here and here to get down there, to be able to open, to be able to surrender, to feel safe. And yeah, if you want your woman to surrender, you want to conquer a woman for that moment, you want her to be passionate, you want her to be turned on, you want her to be into it, you got to go here and you got to go here. You got to actually be in the game consistently, okay? If you're not willing to do that, then I suggest you just break it off with the woman, because she deserves better. Because they do. All of us women deserve better. You men deserve better. You can definitely offer yourselves more by being consciously aware and not taking the blame to your partner on either side. Because I've heard from many men over the course of time that if she would just give me sex, if she would just give me more sex, if she would just give me more blowjobs, if she would just, everything would be right in the world, right? That statement. But that's scarcity consciousness. That is you focusing in on what you do not have and saying that I cannot be happy in my relationship, in my sex, in my body, in my life, unless this other person does this to make me happy. So as long as I am focused on what I do not have, and what the law of attraction teaches us this, as long as we focus on what we do not have with great focus and emotional attachment, which is what we do as human beings, this is where our little hang up is. This is when it's so easy and so not simple to do, right? And that is when we focus in on something, that's what we're creating. So if we focus in on the problem, right? And we love our problems. But if we focus in on the problem, then we create momentum around the problem, Okay, we create that momentum there. So that problem actually expands and grows. And I always bring this back to, like if we have a war on drugs, what are we going to see? We're going to see a lot more drug usage, right? Right? Think of prohibition here, right? Take away all the alcohol, and then what happened? Well, everybody was getting drunk left and right, a lot more alcohol, undercover, a lot more deaths. Anytime we do anything around that. So we do this in the micro setting of our relationships. We focus in on these problems, like around our sex, and we get into this scarcity consciousness around our sex about this problem, and we focus, and what do? We can't get out of it because it's rubbing us wrong, and the focus is so hardcore there that then all we end up manifesting is more of it. So it's like, oh yeah, I can't have an orgasm. I hear this from women all the time. I just can't have an orgasm. If he would just do this, if he would just do that. Or are you just offering up the sex freely and you're just putting out for him so that he's like, what? Well, I don't want to hurt his delicate ego as a man. He needs to grow up here. He does. You got to speak your truth. You got to speak your truth, and you got to say no when you're a no and yes when you're a yes. And do the work on yourself and own that shit. Guys need a little bit of direction every now and then, especially in the bedroom. They don't understand us women. We don't understand ourselves. So let's give them a little helping hand here and communicate it, right? But if we're saying, I can't have an orgasm, or I can't surrender, or I can't trust him, well, as long as you keep those doorways closed by focusing in on the fact as to why you can't trust him, why you can't surrender, why what he's doing to prevent your orgasm, then that's where your focus is going to be. That's where you're going to get stuck. That is quicksand in the relationship, those little things, instead of focusing in on the positive things that are happening. And if you don't have a lot of positives happening in your relationship, then you need to go and create those. Create spaces for those. Find the little things. Does he bring you coffee in the morning? Well, that might be a really awesome thing. Does he mow the lawn without you having to ask? Does he make sure that the gas, that your car has gas in it, nicely? Does he bring you flowers? Is he fantastic with the kids? Is he a good provider? What are those things that you are just like, wow, he's amazing right here? Start focusing in on that, because if you start to grow any particular area in the positive, then that area will start to seep into other areas. Okay, so focusing in on the things that you can actually get turned on and happy about will actually really significantly impact those areas that you're weak in. And guys, the same thing goes. If you think that, her providing you with more sex is going to give you a better life, well, yeah, I get it. You want more sex. Great. But the way to the sex is to appreciate her in other areas and turn her on in other areas. In other words, pay attention, right? Pay attention. Allow yourself to build what is already positive. Get out of the scarcity consciousness and bring your attention to where you are abundant, because all of us have something that we can be abundant in, or at least we are, content, a little satisfied with. Maybe you're not abundant in all areas. Maybe you're not overly enthusiastic and happy about one particular area of your life or any particular area of your life. Then find something that you're at least content with and start there. If we start there in one segment of our life, we can change the whole picture. And then yeah, I get told all the time, you're traveling, you're living your life, you're doing this, you're doing that, you keep it exciting, you do this, How do you have all that energy? 7 kids, 4 grandbabies, travel, 30 clients, teaching classes all over the place, doing all this kind of stuff. How do you do that? How do you do that? Take care of yourself and still have time for down moments and, to get it all done. And it's because I've found this little secret of where I apply my attention that it actually impacts every area of my life. And if I'm happy, then good shit just comes. If I'm in ease and flow and I start to really truly speak my truth, and I just get into that ease and flow of speaking my truth, then guess what? More good shit comes. And that right there, I'm a firm believer that if each one of us can just focus in on our beauty, on loving ourselves, that we will start to treat everyone in our world differently. It starts with our own little families and our own little communities, and then it just ripples out. And it ripples out, and that ripple becomes so massive. And you never know who you smile at and how you're going to be that game changer for them for that day. How you are going to impact some random person that you may never meet. But you do. So it comes down to loving self, speaking your truth, feeling empowered, and realizing that there's your business, there's my business, and there's God's business. And there's only one of those that each of us are responsible for, right? Because we can't control God's business, and we certainly shouldn't be trying to stick our noses in somebody else's business. But if we take care of our own, if we just take care of our own, and we make ourselves happy, and we own our truth, then we've made a significant change in this world. And that's how we deal with all the shit that is going on in this world. To remain aware, but to have faith. And that faith comes from our alignment to God, our alignment to self, to truly know ourselves and stop trying to control all the little things. So, okay. On that note, what else do I have? I don't even know. I don't even know what I have going on in truth. No, I do know what I have going on. I have my quantum integration workshop coming up 2 days after my birthday on the 29th of August. This is my birthday month, also why I'm kind of jumping around the United States this month a little bit more than what I normally do in one given month. So I'm going, did the beach, did all that kind of stuff. Then I'm off to Seattle, Washington, going to go hike in the rainforest and go see some waterfalls and grab some good cups of coffee and try not to cry about my old home getting all graffitied up and terrorized the way it has over the last couple months. But instead to go and enjoy the beauty of the area. So 2 days after my birthday, on the 29th of August, I will be teaching a small group workshop here in Plano in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It is open to 20 people. All of my workshops lately are just open to 20 people. So if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area or can get your butt here, this is one of my most favorite. This is like my baby. This is the class that I love because I love teaching the magic that really just pours through each and every single one of us. So the next 30 days is very magical teaching focused for me, and this is really about our intent. This is about our consciousness. This is about the energy that we bring to the table and how we relate to others. So if you've ever wanted to explore some of my little magic tricks that I do on different videos and different workshops, if you ever caught me, I have this little magic show that I do, and it's not really magical. You can do it, I can do it, anybody can do it, and that's exactly what I teach in this class, is how you can perform that magic, and then how we can bring that into our relationship, into all relationships, and of course into the bedroom if you want to play with that. I mean, if you've ever wondered, can somebody have an energetic orgasm? Fuck yes, they can. They absolutely can. And yes, you can give that to them, and yes, you can experience it. And it's really not that hard. So that is on August 29th. You can check that out on my events page. I will make sure that gets posted here in just a little bit on the comment section. And then in September, I am teaching my Tantric Sex Magic class. This is a first time run out. I haven't taught this class for probably 7 or 8 years. This has been forever, but I just figured, why not do magical things this month, right? So Tantric Sex Magic. Again, this is open. Both classes are open to singles, couples, men, women, whatever you label yourself. Okay, this class is open to that. Details can be found on my website at www.kendalwilliams underneath events, just in case it takes me a moment to get that underneath the comments. My ninja is on vacation. So, she'll probably catch it later. She's like, oh my gosh. But no, my ninja's on vacation. So I'm on my own out here today. Yeah, so make sure that you can, if you want to participate in either one of those, go experience that. Outside of that, if there's anything that I can ever answer, do, or help you with to live that fuck yes life, to truly thrive, and to once and for all stop looking for permission from everybody else out there in the world, and stop focusing in on the scarcity in any subject area of your life, but instead turn the corner to abundance, turn the corner to thriving, and to totally live. Reach out to me. I am accepting applications for one-on-one coaching, for group coaching. I've got online courses, you name it, it's available. Pretty easy to get in touch with, even though I travel and am all over the place. Remember, you are worthy. You are worthy of a beautiful life. You are worthy of a thriving life. You are worthy of living your dreams and your goals, but you have got to start saying fuck yes to yourself in order to live that fuck yes life. So stop existing, start living. I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee. See you then, guys.